purpose and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
You know we need them. Yeah, you know it. We need those strategies, don't we? Those strategies for living. So are you ready? Are you ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to say, and I'm ready.
That's a little tease.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. She is psychotherapist, LPC Lauren Leon McMillian. And, so you kind of indicated, and I think, Lauren, that we can, maybe in our world today, we get too hung up on either or.
On the black or the white.
Yeah, it's got to be this way or it's that way.
Yeah, have you looked to the news at all? Have you seen anything that's happening on the world stage?
You're asking me if I've seen the news lately?
Yeah.
I'm a little obsessed every evening, with getting my, morning and evening. After I got up like this morning, and so I've slept for 8 hours. I need to make sure that the world hasn't blown up while I've been asleep.
Well, I think as long as you're awake and alive in the world, you can rest assured.
I think you're either or in there. What if you both end? What if you were to say, well, you can still be detached in a healthy way.
And see the news for what it is.
And keep abreast of what the craziness out there is,
right,
and stay sane.
Right, and I think that's what we're being asked to do on many levels, right? You make a good point.
Right.
Even if as we watch the news, we appear to be very divided, and I think what we're being asked to do is to integrate that.
We may not be, in other words,
ourselves.
We may not be as divided as we think we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about feelings that can exist together. And it turns out, I think you will be surprised how many of them we're going to bring up today, and by far, this doesn't exhaust them. Okay?
No, because we're humans.
Yeah, it can be both and. That's today here on Strategies. Folks, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitas Delicatessen, home of the Muffy, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. Are you hung up on either or? It can be both and. Come back with us.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. The body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian, talking today. We get hung up on the either or, but we forget that it can be both and. In other words, I can experience different emotions without needing to choose just one. We limit ourselves because we're we're emotional beings. Emotion. We are constant energy in motion,
Right.
moving.
And I would argue probably the truth is that there are often more than one emotion going through us at one time, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's part of our humanness, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that we're complex, right?
We are.
Even though the mind likes that certainty of labeling, and it's still, of course, we have some science evidence that shows that labeling helps, but it helps to recognize perhaps all the labels that can exist at once.
Well,
within us.
I would agree with you that yes, labeling can be very helpful and in fact necessary to navigate through this world. But we also have to remember that once we make a choice, at times we can get so hung up on the choice we've made that then I try to make wrong the choice you've made.
Right.
And so we've got to try our best to remember that as much as we want to make the world and our lives black or white, good or bad,
This or that,
the
right or wrong.
right or wrong,
Yeah.
the fact is that the vast majority of life that we experience here on the planet Earth is not black and white. It's shades of gray.
And nobody sees those shades the same way, right?
Right.
It reminds me of the quote by Nietzsche, right? It's the idea that the most dangerous form of blindness is believing that your perspective is the only one or is reality.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. So let's dive in. And I think as we move through these, you will understand more of what we're talking about. So I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm worn out. Fact of the matter is, I can feel tired, but I can still keep going. So all of us have had the experience of being drained. You saw me drained this weekend. We're actually trying to clear out a box.
Yeah.
We moved. I'm embarrassed to say we moved a year ago, and we rented one of those. We made moving easy, right? So we rented one of those containers that you put everything in. And because we have the luxury of having a back alley behind our house, we were able to park it there.
Yeah, well, so it's hidden from everybody, including us.
Yeah. The initial plan was to put it in the front yard, and that would motivate us to get it cleared out quickly, right?
Right.
Well, that didn't happen.
Oh, well.
So anyway, but I'm on a mission, and we're going to clean that thing out. So you saw me exhaust myself.
Yes.
On what was it? Was it Saturday?
Yeah, this weekend.
I like they said, I worked from can till can't. But so I can feel tired, but I can still keep going.
Well, I think what happens to a lot of us in this age of productivity, and you have to be productive or making something in order to be worth anything. That's sort of the underlying belief that a lot of us have in Western society.
Right.
And I think underneath that, what happens when we're tired is we associate and we have the thought and belief that if I'm tired, that means that I've failed, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm failing. But
I think it's just me. It means you're human.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes being tired actually means that you're growing.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know for a lot of people, I've seen this in myself and in clients, if you, for a lengthy amount of time, have been living in fight, flight, or freeze, and you begin the journey towards healing, that comes with a certain amount of tiredness because you're allowing yourself to feel that,
Right.
which you hadn't
We-
for
well,
years sometimes.
We are pure energy, which is inexhaustible. But that energy gets expressed in a body which can get exhausted, can get very tired.
Right.
And so if we can keep that in mind, okay, you've got plenty of resources that you can reach for. However, you also have to realize that the container right now that the energy is operating in here on Earth is there's a finiteness
Right.
to it.
While the mind and spirit is unlimited, the body is contained within limits. And
Right.
so part of our duty, our job, our what we have to take care of, right, while we're here on earth is our body, is what
Right.
I'm hearing you say.
That's exactly right. It is a sacred vessel
Right.
for containing the energy of your spirit. We're body, we're mind, and we're spirit. But it's important for us to understand, again, not that we absolutely have, this is an either or of sorts, not that we have to say, well, it's either my body or my mind. It's
No.
either my mind and body or my spirit. No, it can be, and it is indeed all three.
Correct.
So if I realize that, then I can recognize the physical nature of my body, the temporary nature of that energy operating through the body, even though my source is of God and it's infinite
It's
energy,
eternal. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's infinite and it's eternal. But again, we're here on earth to learn lessons.
And to learn that balance. Part of that is the balance.
Absolutely.
Right? Of when it is productive to allow the body to rest. And as we know, some of the greatest ideas, the greatest inspirations come when we allow the body to rest.
Absolutely. I can feel left out, but I can still value myself. I mean, in the world today, in our lives, not being included can really hurt our feelings.
Sure.
When our feelings get hurt, we can allow our worth to be defined. And the fact of the matter is that not being included doesn't define your worth. I mean, and it's okay to feel left out if you feel left out, but it's also important that you continue to value yourself, even though in this situation, this time, this circumstance, you didn't get included. You were left out.
Right. Yeah, and you can feel both, right?
Absolutely.
And I think this happens to a lot of people who, and I think a lot of us are focused on the external, right? We need that external validation. And so if you're dependent upon that for your energy supply, for your self-worth, that those are going to go counter to each other.
Right.
But if you shift and you can begin to recognize that, okay, when I come into alignment with who I truly am, there are going to be people who don't align with that.
Right.
Right.
Or don't understand it. Maybe even get threatened by it.
Absolutely get threatened by it, especially people who are fighting with that wound in themselves of feeling or finding their own authenticity. When you step into your authenticity, it can feel threatening to those who haven't found theirs yet.
Yep.
Right. And so looking at it that way, to some degree, it can be a good thing to feel left out, to be left out.
Yeah.
Because it shows that, okay, I am discerning where my tribe is, so to speak. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't want people to hear me to say that, well, you have to feel good. No, feeling left out can feel bad.
Yeah.
Right. And you're allowed to feel both disappointed and that sting of rejection while coming home to and reminding your human that, there's still value in me and my value will find its place.
You're kind of anticipating my next one here.
Oh, yeah?
In what you're saying. Yeah, I can feel regret and I can still grow from it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Big time.
Our mistakes, can actually help to shape us and they don't have to trap us. Okay.
Right.
So again, this is that either or. I get so focused on the missteps perhaps that I've made that I lose sight of, this is a growth. This is a growth experience. You know.
Yeah, and I know you have so many clients get stuck here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the idea that I made a poor decision, I made a poor choice. I did something that hurt myself or other people, and so you do feel some regret. I wish I could have done something better.
Right.
But the truth is, you can still do something better from here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
The 12 steps are an example of that comes
elegant.
to mind. That okay, you make a fearless moral inventory, and then going on into the steps, you make amends
Right.
where that's possible, unless to make amends would hurt. You know, so I'm paraphrasing here.
Hurt,
would
yeah.
cause further hurt
Yeah.
to other people, and you don't want to do that. So I can experience different emotions without needing to choose just one. We're talking about feelings today that can exist together. And, again, we want the black and white. We want the either or, because our ego mind, our ego self, likes the definition, likes to define,
Likes certainty.
likes to be, comfortable and certain.
Yeah.
However, we don't live in that kind
Welcome
of
to the world.
Welcome to the world. Talking about that and more today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back. Come back with us.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies for living. Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. We can get hung up on the either or, and we do. But, it can be both and.
Yeah, we're talking about this, and there's a memory burned in inside of me, and I don't even remember what it was exactly about, but I was probably 4. I was 3 or 4, I think, and I was talking with my mom and trying to explain the feelings, and I had been taught a lot about opposites, right? So
Right.
I remember that strict dichotomy. And I remember this moment where she said, "Oh, so maybe you feel bittersweet." And she explained, the idea that you could be happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
And that I remember that concept just kind of blowing my little mind at the time,
Yeah.
based on what everything else that I had been shown and taught in the
You're
world.
making a good point. You're making a very good point, Lauren, because again, when we come into the world, the first 6 to 10 years of our life we're learning a lot of separation and things that work and things that don't work. And sooner or later, it's wonderful that your mom came along and said, well, yeah, but it can be the same. I mean, it can be two, you can feel the two different things in the same experience. Yeah. And so that's good stuff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I can remember also that feeling of relief, like, oh, okay, I'm not there. It's not wrong or messed up to have both at the same time, right?
There's nothing wrong with it.
But I think we can all hopefully apply that on a larger scale to all feelings.
Yeah.
And I hope that as we explore these ideas of holding to what might seem opposite feelings at once can maybe allow for some of that relief, that validation.
Right.
That it's not either or. You can hold them both.
Human beings get lonely sometimes. Well, the fact is that I can feel lonely, but I can still enjoy my own company.
Yeah.
So solitude can hurt, but it doesn't have to.
Right.
Right? And if I understand that the primary relationship that I need to develop in this life journey is the relationship with myself. And so if I do that and I'm working with that and working at that, then from time to time I can feel lonely. I wish I had this person around or these people around, but I can still enjoy my own company,
Yeah.
and therefore, I can go out and do, how many, and this is I think we see this happening more now, and I think it's a healthy thing. I'm going to take myself out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You go into
take yourself out on a date.
You take yourself out. I go out to a fine restaurant, and there's this single guy or this single lady sitting at the table enjoying their time, their meal.
Yes.
And wow, that's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're tapping on something, kind of a great spiritual truth even, even though the idea that within each of us is all of us, is the whole world, right? And so it's the idea that, yes, the first and most important relationship that we can and do develop is with ourselves.
Right.
And in doing so, we're also human social beings.
Right.
Right. And together we are whole and one.
Right.
And so it's the idea that, you can certainly enjoy your own company, enjoy solitude while missing people,
right,
and desiring companionship and a witness. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes something can fall short while other things remain meaningful. So I can feel disappointed, but I can still be grateful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
So even when I'm disappointed, I can be grateful. The thing that comes to my mind is back in my radio days, that's DAZE.
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to be a part of launching the ownership group that launched KVKI 96.5.
Right.
I'm real proud about that. And
As you should be.
KVKI still exists much in the way we put it on the air in 1983. But we went into the business in the 80s with guys in the oil business.
Mm-hmm.
And so Billy Wilson, my partner, and I, each one of us owned 10% of the company. And the guys that financed the deal owned 80%. So again, not to belabor this, but you know what happened in the 80s in the oil business. And so it doesn't matter what it was. They needed to raise some capital. And here we were chugging along, doing very well. Mm-hmm. And so that was just too much. That was too big an enticement for them to pass up. That was a disappointment.
I
because
a major disappointment.
Yeah,
it was your baby in a way.
It was my baby, but Billy and I didn't have the voting power.
Right.
We advised, no, don't do this. Right. Do not do this. But we didn't have the votes. It's just black and white. In that case, it was what it was. But as I look at it now, that was probably one of the best things that could have happened in my life.
Yeah.
And because it led me to think about other doors to open. It led me almost directly a few years later into graduate school, which led to a 30-year practice in counseling, which I enjoyed immensely.
Right. And
one of the fruits is this radio program.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think, we go through, and sometimes when we're doing lists, we asterisk. And I want to asterisk this one because it's so elegant. And as I'm thinking about it, isn't it the story of, I'm saying the story of my life, but hopefully the story of our lives, right? The idea that we can all be hurt and feel disappointed and rejected and let down, right?
Right.
But in hindsight, we're able to look back and be immensely grateful, just like your story illustrated. But I think the closer we can get these two together, the more elegant, the more beautiful life becomes.
Absolutely.
In other words, the more you're able to hold both of these at once, you're able to see through all of life.
Yeah.
Because, I can think of so many instances in my life, right? And the closer I'm able to hold those, the richer life becomes for me.
Absolutely. And it's important. That's the reason we're doing this today, because it's important for us to learn the capability of keeping hold of a multitude
Right.
of different emotions.
Because
and
we are
feelings.
multitudes.
Because we
as-
are. Yep. I think Bob
Bob
Dylan wrote a
Dylan,
song, You Are Multitudes.
Yeah.
All right. Now, not everybody needs to understand you for you to be valid. So
Amen.
I can feel misunderstood, but I can still stay true to myself. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is a big one.
Yeah, and this is a trap I think a lot of people get stuck in. And one of the things that I think has helped me and has helped others, I've noticed, is if we can remind ourselves not to over-explain ourselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding us.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is they don't have to be maliciously not wanting to understand you, right?
Right.
But they may not have the capability. They may not have been moved from what we're talking about, that point of singularity. This is the way and I can't see past it.
Yeah. And perhaps most often that's the case.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time it's not someone refusing out of malice. I think we all have this deep-seated need and want to be understood and therefore to understand each other. But we get in our own way, especially with this black and white thinking.
Right.
Right. And so to remember that not everybody's going to understand, but the most important person to understand is you.
Absolutely.
Do you understand?
Yep.
And is this true to your path? Because if they don't understand you, you don't have to change.
Sometimes what you need isn't quitting, it's pausing. So I can still choose to rest, and I can feel like giving up, you know? So there are times in life that we just want to throw our hands up and give up. But I can still choose a rest. I mean, we talk a lot about timeouts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so timeouts are real things. Yeah, I know we have them in football and other sports.
I'm thinking of kids and discipline. I think it's
and
punishment, right?
Yeah, that's, you need to take a timeout.
And it doesn't have to be a punishment, by the way.
No, it's
Hopefully it's not.
It's discipline. It's learning how to manage your mind and yourself. So you can feel like giving up, but you instead take a time out. You can choose to rest instead of giving up.
And I think part of this is recognizing and understanding our natural cycles. And I think women may understand this more intimately than men.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke there, but I'm glad you said that because it was crude and rude, and I shouldn't have even thought it.
But I think even modern women don't, because of the way that modern life is structured. Society makes it difficult for us to still honor the cycle,
right?
The cycles of life, whether that be a month or a daily or a yearly cycle, the seasons of our life, right?
Yeah.
And just because you're pursuing a goal and you all of a sudden your energy and your motivation shifts doesn't mean you failed or that you have to give up.
No.
It may just be your body, mind, spirit complex asking you to slow down and to sit with and look at what it is you've built so far.
Yeah.
And maybe even release some of the things that are still in the way.
You can go listen to another song thanks to Disney and Elton John, The Circle of Life.
That's it.
Yeah. So we're talking today. It doesn't have to be either or. It can be both and. We're talking about feelings that can exist together, even though we may want to split them up, separate them, get that black and white. Get over there. More strategies for living. When we come back, stay right where you are.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies for living radio.
And welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. Sometimes we get hung up on the either or and forget that it can be both and. Feelings do and can exist together. We're talking about some examples of that today here on Strategies for Living. Let's talk a little bit about courage, Lauren. I can feel afraid. I can certainly look at something ahead of me and feel some fear and afraid of, I don't know whether I can do that. I might fail at that. But I can still try. I can still try.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's my favorite personal definition of courage.
Courage is not the absence of fear.
It's doing it in the midst of.
It's moving
holding,
with it.
Yeah, holding fear.
Yeah. And
moving into it even.
Yeah, we're human, and so fear is going to be an emotion that a lot of times our ego is going to entice us to, well, get afraid, get very, very afraid. But we don't have to let fear shut us down.
No, and I think if we listen to the wise words of Jung, right, one of his quotes is somewhere along the lines of, wherever there is fear, that's where your next task is, right?
Yeah.
And so I think maybe sometimes fear is simply evidence that something really matters to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's a degree of energy, which indicates to me a degree of care that you have for it.
We live in a noisy world. The world we live in is very noisy, and we got to remember that external noise doesn't have to rush your internal timeline.
Yep.
So I can feel some pressure, but I can still move at my own pace, right?
Yeah, and one of my favorite imagery metaphors that I have for this is the idea of the ocean, right? Or a lake or a body of water, right? But particularly, I think the ocean fits well with this. You know, the at the surface, it can be really choppy.
Yeah.
There's lots of waves, lots of turbulence, so to speak, in the water.
Yep.
Lots going on.
But go down into the deep.
Go down deep enough, it's still.
Yep.
It's quiet.
Yep.
And things move a little slower. Even sound moves slower, light moves slower, right?
Yep.
And so the same is true for us, right? On the surface, we may look like these busy little ants moving all over. But if we're willing to go deep within ourselves, I think we will find that same still omnipresence that connects us all.
That's why things like centering prayer, meditation, things like that are enormously important for us to learn in our life, so that we can learn how to, go away. For the external noise can again bring us into the fear response. But when I'm doing something that is truly important to me, I need to do it at my pace,
right,
and in my way.
That's a huge one, right? And growth isn't a race, right? And comparison is never a good place to be.
Yep. Sometimes it's just about showing up. It's just choosing to show up in spite of, or show up anyway. So I can actually feel insecure, but I can still show up as I am, right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know whether I can do this. I remember, once I got into graduate school, I kind of let myself be talked into it, and I found myself in the first graduate class before I knew what happened. Thanks to Dr. Lamar Wilkinson, I especially in those first lectures and in the first readings that I did, my little self ask the question, can I really do this? Am I worthy of this? Can I do this? But I think it was important that, okay, well, this is something that I see as a real possibility. So I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to, I thank myself and the good Lord that I did that.
Absolutely.
Because,
and all those whose lives you've touched because of it.
Well, I hope so.
I know so.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. The fact is that,
well, it's the idea that we project out that we're supposed to show up as a certain way, and confidence looks a certain way.
well, yeah, but confidence isn't always loud.
No, it's not. It's just about the willingness to. It's actually about the willingness to be who you are in the moment, as you are.
Right.
Right. I am who I am, and that's enough for right now.
Yep. Like Popeye, like the philosopher Popeye. I am what I am.
That's it.
You don't need to solve everything. Just the next small thing. So
the next right thing.
I can feel overwhelmed, but I can still handle what's in front of me right now.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't need to solve everything.
Right.
Just the next small thing.
Right. Well, and I like the idea of holding that, right? I can still feel overwhelmed and move into it and handle the next little thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think so many people I see get stuck when they feel overwhelmed, they stop or they shut down and they give in to the overwhelm. Right? But the idea that you can hold both, I can feel overwhelmed and still move forward.
Yeah, the overwhelm can just be an admission of, well, if I want to reach my goal, there's a lot to do here.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. I can handle it one piece at a time. If it's 1,000-mile journey, you're going to do it a mile at a time. Whether you're driving, flying, riding a train, whatever, it's going to be a mile at a time.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah. So clarity often comes after action, not before it. So I can feel uncertain and I can still take a step forward, right?
Yeah.
How much of this world, how much of our lives is uncertainty?
I would almost say all of it.
Yeah.
Almost all of it.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
If we're,
ourselves.
that's the world.
The mind doesn't like that idea.
No, the ego really doesn't like that idea.
The ego mind, yeah.
The ego mind does not like that idea at all because, again, back to where we started this discussion, we want the definition. We want the black, the white, the good, the bad, the hot, the cold, because I feel comfortable there. That's the known. And so much of us moving and creating, truly creating in the world, is being able to step forward and just take the next step.
That's right.
Yeah.
Move into it.
It's so many times.
And take you with it.
And take you, absolutely. It's not either or. It can be both and. Feelings that can exist together is what we've been talking about today. Here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian, talking today about feelings that can exist together. It's we want the either or, but we've got to remind ourselves that it can be both and. So, it's not either or. It's not you're listening to this on the radio and that's it. It can be both and. You can listen to us on the radio, and I hope you do, and thank you for doing that. But, sometimes, especially like programs today where we've listed things that maybe you want to remember or you want to pass on to somebody else to remember.
Right.
Well, yes, we're on the radio, and by grace and the goodwill of our sponsors, we'll try to stay here. but you can also find us in podcasts.
Absolutely, wherever you listen to podcasts.
So you don't ever have to miss the entirety. If you hear a chunk of a program on the radio that you say, well, I'd like to hear more of that. Well, wherever you get your podcast, whether that's from Apple or Spotify or iHeart, wherever you get them, go and put in the search Strategies for Living and subscribe. You don't ever have to miss a program. All right, so what's your takeaway from today, Lauren?
Well, we talked yesterday with Patrick Walsh about the growing of a new consciousness on Earth.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big part of it, being able to move into this idea of holding both and.
Absolutely. Folks, thank you. Thank you for being with us here on Strategies. And we appreciate our sponsors, as I said, who make it all possible. Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Muffy, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who is it that you'd be calling? What would you be saying? And why? Why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillian, I'm David McMillian. We'll see you next time right here on Strategies for Living.